These are the southbound lane.
Yeah, we're going to be looking for a truck that almost hits him. The truck has to dodge out the way. Is that the press conference, they actually got some proof of what happened to Gio, some video proof. So there's some things out there that we all probably got wrong. Fugitive TV, and we are back, and we are here. I told you I was going to give you an update on the whole Gio case. So we're going to give you an update right now. They are doing a press conference, or I should say they did a press conference. We're going to listen to the press conference together. And we're going to see if we were right or we were wrong on some things. But right now I'm finding out from what I'm hearing is that the press conference, they actually got some proof of what happened to Gio, some video proof. So there's some things out there that we all probably got wrong about if the cousins, intentionally did something to him or did not do something to him. And not only that, we also know for a fact who was in the car, because they're telling us who was in the car, the name, and who exactly he is related to. All that is right here. So let's check this out. All right, let's take a look at this and see what we got going on.
So on Thursday, July 31st, there's communications between Giovanni and his cousin, Latrell Hearn, about Latrell picking up Giovanni, who's in Charlotte County, and taking him back to Brevard County where Latrell lives. They're trying to figure out the details. At 5:41 p.m., Latrell texts that he's going to have to use his grandmother's car, which is a white Malibu. At 8:30, they're still texting each other. They text about smoking weed. Giovanni says, I haven't had a smoke in a while because of court stuff going on in North Carolina. And he goes on to say, I definitely need a smoke.
All right, so there were some comments earlier about if Gio's ever smoked weed before. So that just confirmed that he has. He just said he hasn't smoked in a while. So Gio was smoking. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, there was a friend that was posting pictures on his Instagram account, a friend of Gio, and some of the pictures he was posting, there was one picture or one video where it wasn't Gio, but the friend did have a blunt or something in the background. I noticed the friend took all that stuff down. Also, in another report, Gio, I don't know if he got kicked out of school or left school or withdrawn from school, but they never said exactly why. So I wonder if it was dealing with the court issue that this cop just mentioned.
At 10:08 p.m., Latrell, Jalen Washington,
And it looks like Latrell is the actual cousin. Remember, we were wondering who's the cousin. So Latrell is the cousin. Latrell Hearns, and then he has a brother as well. So they're the cousins. And then he just mentioned Zachary. Remember the guy I said in my last video, Zachary was the one, the older one?
start heading toward Charlotte County. Zach Cummings is the driver of the white Malibu at the time. During interviews, Latrell tells detectives that not long into the drive, they start smoking weed in the car, and Giovanni starts tripping. They stop the car at an unknown location along River Road. Before they got to I-75, because Giovanni needed to use the bathroom. Latrell says that Giovanni is acting out and raging before getting back into the car. They continue driving north on I-75, and at this point, they're about 26 miles away south of State Road 70. At 1:55 a.m., Giovanni sends his mother a text saying help. At 1:56 a.m., he sends another message that says help, followed by me. Jalen says Giovanni was tripping, telling them, I am a demon, and I will wreck this car, and says he will kill them all as he tries to open up the door while the car is still moving. This happens while they're in Manatee County, close to State Road 70.
So what was they smoking on? For him to run, for him to say he was a What was they smoking on? Did they lace it? That would be my question. Did they lace it? Was there something inside of it? Or did Gio already have an issue? Some people, when they have issues or mental issues or anything like that, they can't do no drugs because it brings the worst out of them. They can't. So did he already have this issue? And does this issue string back to whatever court situation that he just brought up back in Carolina? It makes me wonder.
Zachary, the driver, pulls the car over onto the side of the road on the shoulder, the northbound I-75 on the east shoulder of State Road 70. Jalen and Zach are in the front seats, and they hear that Giovanni has a knife. And we know that he always carried a knife. He had two knives. He had a folding pocket knife, and he had a blade, but this knife was still in the sheath, never took it out. They said that Giovanni gets out of the car and begins running southbound in the southbound lanes of I-75. They see him in the middle of the northbound lanes and almost get hit by a truck. This is the last time they see him. He left behind his backpack.
So it sounds like he really did get out the car and start running. Now, if you stay tuned, I heard there's video evidence that shows him running. So we're gonna see if they show that. That's what I heard. Now, so it sounds like the cousins weren't lying. That he really pulled out a knife and he ran out the car.
Cell phone. So they took that and placed it onto the side of State Road or I-75 at State Road 70 at the entrance ramp on the east side. At 2:26 a.m., Latrell calls his grandfather to let the grandfather know that Giovanni got out of the car. At 2:27, Latrell calls Bridget, Giovanni's mother, but there's no answer. We know that they continue northbound on I-75. We have them stopping at...
All right, so I was one of the ones that are critical of, like, why didn't they call anybody? So it sounds like he did try and call his grandfather, and then he did try and call Gio's mom. And then the reason why the backpack and the cell phone was found is because they actually left it on the side of the road. I can see why they did that. Like, here, let's leave his stuff here. Maybe he'll come back for it. His phone could be in there, or anything like that. But I'm still critical on why did they keep driving? Why did they go? They should at least turn around, look for him, or at least turn around, knock on his mom's door. Something. That part I am still critical on.
At the Flying J truck stop in Hillsborough County off of I-4, and you can tell by their phones that they have been...
I know exactly where that Flying J truck stop is, off of I-4, right outside Tampa.
At approximately 6:50 a.m., Latrell calls Bridget again. She answers, and he gives her the information on what transpired that night. At 7:13, Bridget calls the Manatee County Sheriff's Office to look for Giovanni on I-75. She says, from the 911 call that we collected, I received some missed calls from my son this morning. He was being picked up by a relative, and I was told that they left him on the side of the highway. That there was some type of an altercation and a knife was involved. She asked if a deputy could do a wellness check and make sure that he's okay. The dispatcher responds, you mentioned a possible altercation, but can you tell me again exactly what happened? She states, so I'm getting this from people who were there. He said they were in the car, and I guess they had given my son some weed, and my son doesn't normally do any drugs. I guess they had given him some weed, and then he started to freak out and said he wanted to get out of the car. And they were like, hey, just calm down, thinking maybe it was the drugs he was taking. They kept saying, calm down, and everything will be okay. And then I get.
All right, so maybe the mom didn't know that Gio was smoking before. You know, because there's stuff that our kids do and kids go out there and do. Even when we were younger, you know, as kids, there's stuff we would go out there and do, and we didn't tell our parents that, right? So we know that Gio smoked before because it said it in the text.
Yes, he got out of the car to go to the bathroom, and that's when I received the text saying, Mom, help, in that time frame, she said. And then he said that he continued to freak out and didn't know what was going on. They left him behind on I-75. Bridget is heading northbound on I-75 to try to locate her son. A deputy responds to that area, but finds no pedestrian on the interstate. At 7:21, a truck driver who was checking the load on his truck, it's a sod truck, pulls off in that same area on the east side of I-75, northbound, sees the backpack, picks it up.
That's how the backpack was picked up. That is how the backpack was picked up.
Bridget sees that the phone is moving, but does not know that it's a truck driver that actually has the bag and has the phone. She eventually calls Tampa PD, and an officer responds to the area where the truck driver was doing some work, recovers the cell phone and the bag. This is about 9:21 when TPD recovers the phone and the bag. At 9:28, Charlotte County Sheriff's Office opened a missing person case. And we also learned that Charlotte County reached out to Brevard County Sheriff's Office, and they were instrumental in interviewing all the passengers in the vehicle and as this investigation unfolded.
All right, so far it looks like some of the impressions that we had on the cousins, or I should say the one cousin who was in the car and the rest of everybody who was in the car, it looks like they're in the clear of doing any wrongdoing. We were all wondering, did they beat him up, throw him on the road? Did they do anything to him on purpose? We still don't know if anything was laced in the blunt or the weed or whatever they had. We still don't know that. But we do know for a fact now that they didn't do any wrongdoings when it comes to, hurting him, I should say purposely. So that we do know, which is, good to hear. So if any of us was out there accusing them of doing something of that, we need to take that back because that's not exactly what happened. Now that we're getting this press conference, that is good to hear. We are now finding out the exact truth of everything. First of all, Gio smoked before. Gio had a court case before. There were certain things going on in Gio's life. Now, that does not mean that this should have happened to him. No, whatsoever. He's just a kid. But there are certain things in his life that was going on that we just did not know about, and we were automatically assuming, So now we know the truth, and we know exactly what's going on.
They voluntarily give Brevard County the vehicle, the white Malibu that they were in. Brevard County processes the vehicle and finds no foul play, no blood, nothing, no evidence whatsoever inside that vehicle.
All right, so there's no foul play or nothing. Now, there is video evidence, they said, of Gio running out of the car or running down the highway. Let's see if we can get to that, actually, because that's what I want to see. So that way, we can see for ourselves. All right, so for you guys that are confused on what you're seeing, this is I-75, okay? And as you see the camera at the bottom, there's a red line going through it. Hold on, move it out the way. It says I-75 northbound, which means that's the way the camera's pointing. So all the red lights you see, they're going north. So they're actually coming up to Tampa, coming away from Bradenton. All the headlights you see are going into Bradenton. So the car that he got out ran from, it should be going up away.
This is the 44th Avenue camera, located about 1.2 miles north of State Road 70. Right here, it's hard to tell, but you can see some movement over here on these are the southbound lanes.
Yeah, we're going to be looking for a truck that almost hits him. The truck has to dodge out the way.
Having to get out of the way. He'll clear up a little bit here in a second. He has on a white shirt. You can see him coming across. Here's the truck trying to avoid hitting him. You can point him out right here. He's coming eastbound now. He's walking back. Westbound.
Yep, I saw looks like, yeah, the truck almost hit him.
And there's a concrete barrier right here. And down here is where the pond is. So then we continue to check cameras. And we get lucky at a Lowe's, which is located on the west side of State Road 70. We have a camera that's pointing at the embankment now that he comes down at 2:19 a.m. Play that, Ben.
Okay, all right. So I take that back. When I gave you the description for the video, it was actually the opposite. So the cars that you saw with the red lights, those are coming into Sarasota. The cars with the headlights that you saw coming towards you, those are going into Tampa. So it looks like what happened was he got out the car and he ran across the whole highway onto the other side. All right.
I want you to stay focused right here.
This is why we have cameras today, people. You can't get away with no crime because of this right here. You can't get away with nothing just because of this. You never know where a camera is pointing at. You see that? Did you see that? It just showed him running into the...
Now that's a steep embankment. It's coming down there almost an uncontrollable sprint. If you've ever gone down a hill, you know what I'm talking about. But the pond is right here at the edge of that embankment. I mean, the important thing that I want you to see, there's no one chasing him. There's no one around him. In fact, when he's coming down that embankment, the vehicle is 2 miles away. So there's no one in this area with Giovanni. There's no one that's chasing him. He's by himself. Now, what we don't know is what happened when he hit that pond. I don't know.
So there we go. Video proof of him running across the highway. A truck almost hit him on the highway, and then he runs down the embankment into the pond. So it is possible that he could have slipped, bumped, hit his head because he was running down fast, knocked himself out, or he could have ran into the pond and drowned, even though the mom said he was a strong swimmer. But if he was really freaking out over drugs, strong swimming, strong anything doesn't matter because that drugs take over your body. And once it takes over your body, you lose a lot of, I should say, maybe self-survival skills, consciousness towards things, sometimes even strength. And we all know logical thinking sometimes can go out the window when you're high or you're blitzed off your mind on some things. And that's just the case the case how it is. So this is how, hey, the video proof is right here. He was still alive when he left out the car, you know, so, hey, a lot of stuff that we were speculating that happened, it didn't happen. Now, I still wanted now, they did call the mom, the grandfather. I give them credit for that. They did do that. But why did you leave? Still got questions about that one. But here was the update I told you I was going to give y'all. This is Fugitive TV. Like and subscribe for more updates, some more videos. We are out.